So motivation 101 from my perspective. How does it work? I mean, in reality, I have no idea. Gonna try the outdoor workout today. Well, this will be fun. I was debating what this week's vlog would be about, and then I was watching vegan cyclist's new VC Adventures secret entrance to Yosemite, and it kind of got me thinking about like motivation and why we're motivated to do things. Yeah, not gonna lie, like motivation is a crazy thing. I struggle sometimes. I think I'm in a low, but you know, like anything, you gotta ride it out. But I thought it'd be interesting to kind of be more honest about this. So I'm over warming up. Them's be the way at which this works. Getting out of my house. So yeah, motivation, right? Why do I do this vlogging? Why do a video, on YouTube for writing? Why podcast? Why write articles? Why contemplate books? There's a lot of big questions. Why? What's motivating me? Maybe I have an answer. So, what's with all this contemplation? If you know, you know, but I'm trying to beat the last kind of 2 mega bosses on God of War Ragnarok, the king of the berserkers. I got something even worse to do after, the Valkyrie. So maybe I'm just tired. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, yeah, when I'm tired, I probably do think a lot more about the things that I wish were different, but I generally do that anyways. However, before we dive into the D&M stuff, the ride today is 2 hours, kind of like an interval thing. I'll see if I can do it on the bike out here. So far I've blown the warm up. I'm just like way over. Seems like a long warm up. I don't even know if I've started the workout, to be honest. It looks like it's kicking through. This will be interesting to see how it goes. Sorry, a rider was getting honked at. Jesus, assholes in cars. Where you gotta be? What is your life where a cyclist going slightly slow is gonna cause that much drama? What is their motivation? Ouch. Yeah, so the aim is to do out and back, head towards pie in the sky, hour out, hour back, done. 3.5 hours of endurance tomorrow, which I'm thinking of doing like a fondo. Don't know if I'll do a double video, bank one, we'll see. Jeez, what's tenner? I think I need it. So, motivation. So maybe just talk about what I think motivation is and what it's meant to me. Oddly enough, I'm going to use a sports analogy. In my life, motivation is the equivalent of being an average boxer who doesn't really win a lot of bouts. They just keep training and getting into fights, and they keep coming back for more, but I'm sure on either side, there's a lot of ups and downs. So ultimately, lots of effort, lots of intrinsic rewards. But I think the balance of it is there's a limited amount of extrinsic. And those have generally only been fitness increases and weight loss, which are good motivators. But when you rinse and repeat a lot, you kind of take those ones for granted. You just know they're gonna come back. But generally speaking, motivation is linked to a goal whereby the individual wants to gain that or accelerate towards that goals, and reach it. So motivation's a great tool. It keeps you moving. And goals are great. I've set goals in my whole life, whether they be for real things like all the humans do, or just things for me. Goals are facilitated through motivation, and that motivation keeps you moving forward. I feel like I did the warm-up backwards. All that wattage up front, almost limited wattage in the peaks. So, back to motivation. What is it for me? Well, I sprinkle it in. I have to do a lot of different things to motivate myself, but I think in general, a lot of my motivation is just doing new things. I love the adventure, and I also love being shit at stuff. It makes you feel like you still got something to do. So, I've been motivated to do photography, write books, invent things, be a coffee maker, be a barista, screen printing, furniture making. It's like the last 5 years of eclectic mix of shit, and motivated myself to learn to do more with my life. But it also feels like I'm just filling a void. And I think that void is something I've realized recently. No idea how to do this outdoors. No, this is new. A green bike lane? No, there's more. It was just to give motorists a heads up they can't just run into people. I don't know what's in that paint, but you can smell it. It smells like wall paint. I don't know how long it'll last. So what's my most recent bout of additive motivation? Well, it's coming back to this, videoing. I think last year I got super inspired in creating content and was, kind of fed those endorphins through viewership, which is cool. And I thank everyone for watching my videos. But I have to have some self-awareness. I have to have some self-awareness around the simple fact that I'm over the age of 30, 40. I'm closer to 50. And what am I doing this for? Why am I motivated to tell you about rides or talk about things? And the thing I realized was I've always thought that I was different, that I had a different, unique perspective, one worth sharing. And the rub was that I thought that was a great brand that other people would be interested in. That my unique perspective would be something that, would motivate other people. And I think there's a select number of people that do get motivated, but I think in reality, I think I scare people more than I motivate people, or I upset them, or make them think a little too differently to the point where it creates an adverse effect. And that's kind of spooky. It's been haunting me for a while, that thought. It's never really held me back. But if I think about the things I'm doing to try to create something different, I'm pretty sure that's what's screwing me over. But I don't want to sell out. I don't want to not be myself. So how do you deal with that? Well, I think it's about perspective. It's about knowing why I'm doing this. What is it for? And what is it for? So then the real question is, how do you set goals when you realize that your particular brand isn't going to necessarily resonate with a lot of people? Conundrum for sure. Or is it? The tortured artist game is a fun one. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure most of my life I've felt that tortured artist vibe. You know, no one gets me. One day I'll show everybody something and it'll change the world. God, that's hugely narcissistic and egotistical, but whatever. I think it's sort of that inner hero dream problem. Oh, I wonder if I'll get caught. So then it comes down to, you know, what am I doing it for? What is this all about? I still love telling stories. Even today, I can honestly say that my motivation to talk about motivation is because I'm having a hard time. I don't have a job, which makes you question everything. I don't want a job, which makes it even weirder. And then I have all my nihilism that I pile on top of that, where nothing really matters anyways. All this stuff combined, wow, what is the point? I often think about like the era I was born into. I was kind of born on that bridge, Gen X, Gen Y. I was fortunate to have a massive technology upbringing, which has really helped me, you know, in my life. I've always been very technical, can figure things out. But then I always think about being born 20 years later and the sort of tech curve you're on. If I was 20 years younger now, what would I be doing? How would I perceive the world? What if, what if, what if? But nevertheless, I'm here now. Old guy on YouTube going, please like me. Please tell me I'm good. Maybe that's what this is all about. It's just about the gap of affection you got from your parents. Trying to fill the void. Have to find an extra 8 minutes. Maybe just try to go a bit slower on the way back. Struggling with these intervals, cannot make it work. So yeah, I'm motivated to continue to storytell, and I'm motivated to use riding my bike as a measure for that. The goal I have is to get fitter, be stronger, ride some things that are hard, and adventure more, but culminating that into telling the story, which is cool. And I just hope that others find something in this for themselves. So if you do find motivation in any way, hold on to it. It's important. Motivation is the best friend that gets you up and gets you going. It's the one that calls you out on your shit and says, you're not fucking doing it, so get fucking doing it. I'm not gonna lie, it feels very weird to go so slow on this route. The voice in my head, my motivator, is going, you ride faster than this, just ride it. Maybe not. Chill out, Joe. You're trying to do training. I'm not trying to smash it. Calm down, buddy, calm down. So that's sort of the where to from here, storytell, which kind of gets me to the thing I like to do the most, which is a lot like that last gravel video. I just like making rider films. You know, my perspective of a ride, taking people on the journey, the adventure. To me, that's important to give, you know, the viewers that feeling they're with me as I conquer the mountain. And I find a lot of motivation and storytell that way. So I think moving forward, it's possible a lot of my sort of strategy is going to be to do that, to tell the rider's story. So if you've enjoyed this very depressing video from a rider's journey around motivation and trying to navigate a very complicated environment to find long-lasting motivation, oh, you know, that's cool. Thank you for watching. You know, you could do the old like and subscribe and comment. I get right back on those comments. I appreciate them. I know some people have been really engaged in the stuff I'm doing, which I super appreciate. And I hope the takeaway from this isn't that I'm whinging, because I'm not really whinging, although there is an aspect of whinging to this, but it's more around just digging through the noise of this and trying to find something that keeps me going. And I think I found it in the void of self-doubt. Forget how busy this is after like 9 o'clock in the morning. Woke up late because I was battling the bosses in God of War. Wah, wah, wee, wah. Talk about not being good at something. Boy, I mean, I'm very, very average at best. Probably the bottom end, but far out. Next level skills. So going back to vegan cyclist and the spark of this entire monologue that I'm giving you now, it came off the back of my wife asking me what vegan was saying fills him back up. And he was saying that going out on the bike and going on an adventure fills his cup and then he can give that back. And my wife was like, oh, is that what you do? I was like, not really. I don't know if that's exactly it. In a way it is. We resolved on doing things that I'm interested in, make me feel that way. For some reason, I think that guy got clipped by a car. It's on the way out. There was a car parked in a precarious spot, and I'm pretty sure they were going back to check on him, random. Yeah, so filling the cup, right? I think I fill my cup in a lot of ways. And I think to kind of close this off, I generally live with a growth mindset. So an abundance of reasons that I can keep doing what I do and why I do it and all that. So this isn't a doom and gloom story. My cup is generally full. I can't complain. I just think that my desire for more, to have more meaning and impact, sometimes lets me down. And I think also, as generally a nonconformist, I ostracize myself from a world of conformists, right? So, you know, I have to be okay with not fitting in because I choose not to. And that, in a world of popularity and virality, I'm just not gonna be. And I've always been all right with that. I really don't care about that stuff. But all nonconformists want to be told that they're doing a good job. And ultimately, we just all want to be told we're good. Good at what we do, good at what we talk about or whatever. The human condition is crazy. Positively, I just want to tell some cool stories. And I just want people to like me for telling them and tell me I'm a good boy. Back to the ride, added a little on just to get my 2 hours. Just a little clip of Somerville and I'm just making my way home. Deedly dee dee dee. Just a bit of a wrap on this training outdoor. I don't know how anyone does that. It's nearly impossible without riding your brakes constantly to stay in the zones. I probably hit 10% of the prescription. Outdoor riding for outdoor, indoor riding for training. It just is easier. Off by 3.5 minutes. All I needed was to go a little further on Somerville and I'd have probably just rolled up into the driveway. So now I'm gonna go up and down the street for a while.